There's a kind of tiredness that doesn't go away with sleep, a kind that sinks into your soul, like you're here but not really here. You wake up, go through the motions, smile when you have to, but inside, you feel like a shadow of yourself. Maybe you've felt it before. You wake up, scroll your phone, brush your teeth, and do all the things you're supposed to. You smile when people talk to you, say, "I'm fine," when they ask how you are. But deep down, you're not fine. You're just existing. You go through your day like a ghost in your own life. Everything feels muted. The colors, the sounds, the laughter. The things that once made you excited now barely make you feel anything at all. You keep thinking, what's the point? Why am I doing this? But you keep going anyway. Not because you're full of energy, but because something inside you still believes. Maybe someday it'll feel different. Maybe the fog will lift. Maybe one morning you'll wake up and feel alive again. And that's what people often miss about those who are tired of existing. They're not weak. They're not lazy. They're not broken. They're survivors of invisible battles. Every day they choose to face the emptiness instead of running from it. That's a quiet kind of strength most people never notice. Sometimes being tired of existing means you've been too strong for too long. You've carried too much emotions, expectations, pain, without ever putting it down. You've been the listener, the helper, the one who always says it's okay when it's not. And now your heart is just exhausted. I once knew someone like that. Her name was Mira. She was one of those people who always seemed okay. The type who checked on others, smiled easily, never complained. But behind her calm voice and polite laughter, she was quietly falling apart. She told me once, "I don't want to die. I just don't know how to keep living like this." Every day felt like walking through thick fog. She had a good job, friends, a decent apartment, everything that was supposed to make life fine. But nothing felt real anymore. Music sounded flat. Food tasted dull. Even her favorite coffee shop felt lifeless. She said it felt like existing on autopilot, doing what needed to be done but never feeling it. People thought she was strong, but really she was just tired of pretending. Then one day she decided to stop running from her tiredness. She didn't force herself to get better overnight. She just slowed down. She started going for walks without headphones, just listening to the world again. She stopped saying, "I'm fine," when she wasn't. She let herself cry, rest, and not be okay for a while. One evening, after weeks of silence, she called me and said, "I watched the sunset today, and for the first time in months, it looked beautiful." That was the moment she began to feel again. Not fully healed, but human. And that's something we often forget. Being tired of existing doesn't mean you don't want life. It means you're longing for life to feel alive again. Sometimes the world expects us to keep running, smiling, producing. But the truth is, the soul gets tired too. It needs rest, gentleness, and space to breathe. So if you ever feel this kind of exhaustion, don't rush it away. Sit with it. Listen to it. Maybe it's not your end. Maybe it's your pause. Maybe it's your spirit saying, "You've carried too much for too long." Put it down for a while because life doesn't always come back in a dramatic moment. Sometimes it returns quietly, in a sunset, a laugh, a stranger's kindness, in the simple realization that even though you're tired of existing, you're still here. And maybe, just maybe, that's the start of living again. Emotional exhaustion happens when your mind and heart are overloaded for too long. It's common in people who constantly give energy, time, care, without receiving enough back. Your brain begins to protect itself. It shuts down emotions to survive. That's why people like Mira stop feeling joy, motivation, or connection. They're not broken, they're burnt out. Their nervous system is stuck in survival mode, what psychologists call the freeze response. You've probably heard of fight or flight, but there's a third one: freeze. When your mind decides you can't fight or run, it simply shuts down. You start to feel detached from your own life, like you're watching it happen from outside yourself. That's what it means to be tired of existing. So, if you ever feel like Mira, numb, lost, running on autopilot, remember, you're not lazy, you're not weak, you're just human, and your mind is asking for rest, not punishment. Take a break, breathe, step outside, talk to someone who listens. Do one small thing that reminds you you're alive, not for productivity, not for success, just for you. Because sometimes the most powerful form of healing is simply remembering that even when you're tired of existing, life still quietly waits for you to return.